Hey there everyone, it's Sherry from Our Life Homeschooling. Join me in this video as I take you along with me for a day in the life of our homeschool in winter. These days can be cold and short and dark, but we're finding ways to enjoy what God's given, enjoy each other, and to make the most of homeschooling during this time when we have a lot of time on our hands. All right, William. Okay, so what I want you to learn is this. This is our 14th year homeschooling, and if there's anything that I've learned in all these years that we've been doing this, it's that January through March is the time in the year when we get the most academic work done. The days are really short, it's cold outside, we try to get out, but realistically, we just have a lot more time inside, and this is when we get a ton of bookwork done. I have peace about relaxing a little bit in other seasons of the year because I know how much we get done in January through March. Now, if this is your first time on my channel, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Sherry. I'm a homeschooling mom to 10 kids. The oldest is a graduate. He is back at school right now. He was home with us during this week, which was really nice. I love showing up here every week to encourage other homeschool moms in this great job of teaching and discipling our kids. Over the years, as I've worked with my kids, as soon as they start reading and writing and they are just understanding the basics of math, I've tried to help them become as independent as possible. I've learned that when they're working on their own and they're independent, that they have a lot of motivation to learn even more than when I'm sitting there giving them a lesson. When they're working on their own, the idea is that they come to me when they have a problem. But while we're all sitting there, I am usually working with my youngest kids first. And I don't really have an order for how I do this. I'm usually right now working with William, who's learning to read, write, and he's just at the beginning stages of math. But if someone else needs help, I will stop. But one thing I've tried to follow is just to only work with one child at a time so they have my full attention. And then when they understand the concept, I move on to the next. Our oldest son was here this week for winter break, and it was so great to see him interacting with his siblings, and it just reminded me how glad I am that all our kids are here growing together and so intimately involved with each other's lives. Although we have a lot of time that we're spending on schoolwork, we love the interruptions of babies and toddlers. They just bring some sweetness to our day. Yes, I know it is not easy having babies and toddlers in the house when you're homeschooling. I have been through all the moments that are really tough when you're constantly interrupted with them. But at the same time, they are just such a joy. And if you take the time to stop and look at their gummy smiles and listen to them, sit and do 5 minutes of a little puzzle or a little game with them, it just makes their day. And I love having them as a part of our homeschool. I think a lot of people think that our whole day as homeschool moms is taken up with sitting by our kids and doing schoolwork, but realistically, a large part of my day is making food and cleaning up. So although you may not see this in the video, during this time, my kids are often still doing their independent work, usually up until about lunch, when we break for lunch and then go outside for a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about the work that they do on their own. One thing that's really cut down on the amount of time I spend correcting my kids' work is to let them correct their own. They correct their own work for math, and they're supposed to bring it to me if they get any problems wrong so that I can go over it with them and I can make sure that they fully understand it. This has worked really well for us. If I had a child that I couldn't really trust to do this, then I wouldn't be able to, but so far that hasn't been a problem. If anything, I would say the only problem we've had is sometimes I have a child that doesn't want to interrupt me or doesn't want to stop their work to, understand what they're doing wrong, and I've just told them that if you don't do that, then it's going to be a lot more work to help you catch up. On this particular day, my husband was home for the lunch meal, which is really nice. A couple weeks ago, I did a video on homeschooling when your husband has a random schedule. I'm going to link it below. It has its benefits and challenges as well.
Amen.
Oh, there it is. Go. Back to the kids doing their work on their own. As they grow older, I am not familiar with every single thing that they're doing every day in every subject. I just expect them to complete their checklist, and I check it from time to time. And sometimes I'll check narration, another time I'll take a look real closely at their math. What's really important to me is that I spend some time each day with each of my kids. And sometimes it's more with one, more with another, but I want to be checking in with them, knowing what was hard for them, just being able to have some of these conversations that are so important, and knowing where their heart is and what they're struggling with, and just having that personal connection with them that's so important. Now, while it's true that we get a ton more book work done in January, it's also true that when it snows, we drop everything and go outside and play. You never know when it's going to snow or how long the snow is going to be around. So when we have it, I think it's important for kids to be outside in it, enjoying it, and not missing the beauty of God's creation during this special time that we only get to enjoy in the winter. Back inside, I love having a wood stove. Sometimes it's just the little things in winter that will help you feel cozy and warm and just help you get through some of those long, cold days. It's a little extra work to get it started and to keep it going throughout the day, but I also have lots of kids that can help me with it. We typically don't take snow days. We work right through them. I just like to take advantage of the weather, whatever it is. So during days like this, I might let them play outside for a long time and then come in and read when they're tired. Sometimes I'll just wait and we'll do some of our reading in the evening since it gets dark so early around 5 o'clock. And we'll finish it up then. So we really just try to make our school day fit around our home life. Our home comes first. Taking care of the children, making sure we have good food to eat, the house is being kept clean. A lot of this takes a ton of our time. And I can't always show these things. You don't see all of what goes on here. Waking up, sometimes it's messy. It's hard to get caught up. Sometimes we get to lunch and I have no idea what I'm making that day. These are things that are happening, but in general, I try to make our home life the first priority. Now, this is a different day from the one when my husband was home for lunch. And as I was doing some meal prep for dinner and also getting our lunch together, my kids were playing card games at the table. This happens so often. I love that in the empty moments when time would be wasted at school just standing in line or going to the next thing, My kids are playing together and interacting, and it not only is sharpening their minds, but it's sharpening their friendships as well, which is so important. Going back to the housework and cooking that happens in a school day, when my kids were a lot younger and we were in the foundational years of homeschooling, I spent a lot more time doing the schoolwork with them. It just took up so much more of my time because less of them were independent. And now that they're older, I have a little bit more free time. Just looking back on those early days, my housework probably did slide a little bit. Things were not as picked up, not as clean. It took so much more work to just get through our schooling when the kids were little. So if that's you, I hope that you don't try to compare our large family and having a lot of older kids to your situation. That is definitely a season of life that is intense for a period of time, but it does change. Here, my daughter Julia is helping, and if there's one thing I've learned about having kitchen helpers, it is to only have one helper at a time. Sometimes they all ask and they all want to be a part of it, but in the end, I just end up getting frustrated and totally overwhelmed. So if I have just one helper, that seems to work for us. I've had some people ask me if I give grades to my kids, and up until high school, I don't. Our goal is just progress. So if we have an interruption and we don't go through a lesson that day, we don't finish it, then I just stop there and then I start again the next day. As long as we are making progress every day, I've learned from doing this for so long that it really makes a lot. And you really move forward exponentially, more than you realize, over a period of time, even if at the very moment and what you're doing right now seems like it's not that much. This science lesson is geared more towards my older kids. Last year, I spent a lot of time doing the Burgess Bird book and the Burgess Animal book for my younger kids. These are both Ambleside Online books. But this year, I'm kind of focusing more on my older ones. This is The Mystery of the Periodic Table. When we finish this one, I'll probably go back to a little bit easier book for the younger ones and just assign my older kids a little bit extra science reading. When we're reading together in the afternoons, when my little ones are down, we get a ton of stuff done. But during the mornings, up until lunch, about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, I have my little ones awake with me. I have toddlers. I've always had toddlers and babies, and we have a lot of interruptions. This is just a part of it, and I think you can get easily frustrated, which I have from time to time, or you can just keep going. Find little ways to make it work. I'm often wearing a baby. I have a box of things for my toddler that I'll pull out. Sometimes I'll put them in a chair and just have them have some Cheerios or something they can snack on. Those are great. But we have made it work over the years. There are so many parts of homeschooling that are not easy. And if you don't know why you're doing what you're doing, then you would give in so quickly. While I really believe that any parent can homeschool, you've taught your kids how to sleep through the night, how to eat with a fork, you've potty trained them, reading is just the next step. I believe any parent can homeschool their kids. I also think that you have to have a passion for it. You have to know why you're doing what you're doing, or you will give in because it's not easy. I've always been inspired by the verses from Psalm 78, where the writer tells God's people to teach the next generation about the glorious deeds of the Lord, about his power and his mighty wonders, so that they wouldn't be stubborn and rebellious like the people before them. I see the work I do with my kids as discipleship. It happens when we sit down, when we rise up, when we walk through the day. It's just a part of our life, and it's so important. It's making a huge difference. I want to challenge you to keep going in the great work that God's given you homeschooling your kids. Have a great week.